Good evening. Today, the House of Representatives passed two articles of impeachment against President Donald Trump for corruptly putting his own political and personal interests ahead of our national security. These articles will be forwarded to the Senate for what I hope is a full and fair trial, both for the President and for the people of the United States. I'd like to take a moment to share why I voted in favor of impeachment and share my thoughts about where we go from here. Above all, this is a sad moment for our nation. Only twice before has the House voted to impeach a president, and never before on accusations of compromising national security. Yet that is what the facts show. First, the president abused the power of his office by blocking nearly $400 million in congressionally authorized military aid to coerce Ukraine to launch a phony investigation into his political rival. This was an outrageous attempt by President Trump to solicit foreign interference in our 2020 election for his own personal advantage. The taxpayer-funded aid was urgently and desperately needed by our ally Ukraine, who is in the midst of an active war with Russia. We also know that members of the administration, including in our State Department and Department of Defense, raised concerns about the interactions with Ukraine, while others went to extraordinary lengths to hide the details of the president's actions. Second, the president has waged a campaign of absolute obstruction against Congress's constitutional authority and responsibility to investigate the truth. He has ordered all federal officials to defy subpoenas and refused to produce even a single document. Facing these grave and historic charges, I felt duty-bound to vote to hold the president accountable for aggressively attempting to compromise the integrity of our 2020 election, for putting his own personal and political interests ahead of our nation's security and foreign policy interests, and for preventing Congress from duly conducting its investigative and oversight responsibilities. The president's actions brought us to this moment, and Congress has a duty to the entire nation to ensure that no one person stands above the law. So where do we go from here? The process now moves to the Senate, where a two-thirds majority is needed to impeach and remove a president. President Trump, and indeed every American, deserves a full and fair trial in the Senate. It is critically important for our democracy that both prosecution and defense are allowed to call and cross-examine witnesses. And I hope every senator will honor their separate oath and consider the fullness of all the evidence to make their decision without prejudice or prejudgment. This is a solemn day, but our system of checks and balances was designed exactly for difficult times like these. I have full faith that our Constitution will continue to guide us on this path ahead. Thank you, and at this holiday season, in the days ahead, may God bless you and your family, and may God bless the United States of America.